adventurers, my name is Mary and I'm the co-owner of 2 Foot Adventures, an ultralight backpacking gear shop. In today's video, I'm going to talk about personal locator beacons. So I've been carrying a personal locator beacon since 2013. I started with the SPOT Gen3 and I have recently upgraded to the Garmin In-Reach Mini. So while I was hiking the PCT, I actually had an incident where I needed to use the PLB. When I was about 400 miles into the trail, a little over, I actually had this really bad stomach ache. To say I had a stomach ache is putting things lightly. Okay, I couldn't lay on my back, I couldn't lay on my stomach, and I couldn't lay on either of my sides. So I woke up in the middle of the night in severe pain and unsure what to do. I crawled up, I walked up onto this mountainside where I had cell phone service earlier in the day, just very briefly, and it wasn't very good. I had just noticed that I had a single bar of service. So I walked up there and I tried to make a phone call, and it was 1:30 in the morning. And I tried to call again and tried to call again. So by the time I tried to call and I'd left some messages with a couple different people, then at one point it was very chilly and my phone finally died, but not before somebody answered the phone and heard me sobbing hysterically. So I walked back down to my tent and hit my spot, and I just hit the I might need help button because I wasn't sure how bad my situation was. I just knew I was very uncomfortable. So my plan was the next day to try to get up and hike out and just see how I felt. But what ended up happening was my friend that I had called at 1:30 in the morning who heard me crying, the first thing he did was go to his computer and see where my last ping was. So my ping happened to be on the border of 2 different counties. He spent a couple hours trying to work with emergency personnel in both counties to try to figure out who was going to come and check on me, because he just couldn't stand the thought of me being out there knowing that something is wrong, because I would not call at 1:30 in the morning if something wasn't wrong. I just wasn't sure that I was ready to hit my SOS and have a helicopter or something try to come in, or, you know, a whole search and rescue team be dispatched in the middle of the night to come and find me. I knew I could at least make it till morning. So he spent several hours on the phone trying to find somebody who would come out, or trying to find the appropriate people in the district that I was in to come out and look for me and be sure that I was okay. So I laid there for a couple of hours. I happened to be camping near a road, and every car I heard go by, I kept thinking, oh, it's going to be him. He's just going to drive out here, because I was only maybe 3 hours or so from home. But in the end, I had a sheriff patrol car come out at 4:30 in the morning and talk to me. We ended up loading my stuff into the back of his car and driving me to town. And the next day, I was in the hospital getting surgery, having my appendix taken out. I had gone from walking 18 miles that day to not even be able to hold my head up and walk 18 yards unassisted. So needless to say, I ended up to be very sick, and the SPOT did help to get me out of there. But 6 years later, when I'm out hiking on the PCT again in a different area, I had been faithfully sending my SPOT messages, hitting the button 2-3 times a day. I always hit it first thing in the morning, usually at lunchtime, and then in the evening when I'm at camp. And after 3 days of me doing this, when I got to my next cell phone service or got into town, my partner informed me that he didn't get any of my messages, and he had grown very concerned about me. So the SPOT, and I had the same experience when I was on the PCT, but I just felt like I wasn't ready to upgrade at that time. I was overall, all my hiking experience, I've been safe, except for that experience with my appendicitis. So I just felt like my SPOT was good enough. And I had been around other people. Should it have been a real emergency at that time when I was hiking on the PCT, I felt like I could probably, hopefully, maybe find somebody else. So my finances also kept me from upgrading. So in the end, very recently, I went to the Garmin In-Reach Mini. And I did this because the Garmin In-Reach Mini has 2-way service. So the SPOT, you have pre-programmed messages, you can send something out, you can't really receive anything. Even on your S.O.S, it's pre-programmed that this is your name and You can put a description of yourself and so forth, but there's no other way for you to receive information unless you have cell phone service and you put your phone number on there. With the Garmin Inreach, if you were to hit your SOS button, it would go straight to personnel. They will know that you have a Garmin Inreach and they can message back and forth with you. I've had hundreds of hikers tell me that they have upgraded to the Garmin Inreach Mini because of the two-way service and how valuable it was during times of rescue. Okay, I've known of many PCT hikers who've had to hit their SOS button for various reasons, whether they broke their leg, they hurt their back, they fell in a creek and lost every single item that they owned, and it was very cold, they were very cold. Lots of different reasons. People who've been bit by snakes. You should always think twice before hitting your SOS button. Be sure it's a true emergency, because every time you hit your SOS button, you're disrupting the lives of all the volunteer personnel, SAR volunteers. They have to leave their life and come out to find you. So this is not something to be taken lightly, which is why I didn't hit my SOS button before. I did not feel it was going to be life or death at that time. It turns out that my appendix was about to rupture, and had they not done surgery, my surgeon said that it could have been much worse had they waited any longer to do my surgery. They did the surgery, like I said, that day. He felt if I had even waited till the morning, it could have been disastrous. So don't delay. If you need help, use your SOS, but don't do it lightly. Okay, this needs to be a real emergency. But the great thing about the Garmin Inreach Mini is the two-way communication. Okay, I can't stress this enough, how important the two-way communication can be to expediting and determining the severity of your situation in the event that something were to occur. It's also great because you can text message even your friends and family, let them know that you're okay every day. This works everywhere that, or almost everywhere around the planet. You can get on Garmin's website and look at the coverage maps. You can turn on and off your subscription every month, which is for an additional monthly fee, which is different from the SPOT. I found myself spending over $200 for a year's SPOT subscription that was very mediocre, where my subscription on my Garmin Mini I can do for significantly less annually and have much better coverage. So hopefully this helps you decide if you're debating between the SPOT Gen3 or the Garmin Inreach Mini. If you have any additional questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at 2 Foot Adventures. And no matter what you do, have fun in the outdoors and be safe. Until next time, bye.